the Warrior Commission now, YouTube channel for the Warrior Commission. And we are in this place of just having conversations about whatever the topic is for each focus or each talk that we're having, where we're sharing and just kind of bouncing off of each other. So it's not really scripted. So we aren't real sure exactly what direction things are going to go. But I will say that today our kind of overall topic has to do with tension into breakthrough. And so I'm Christine Casten.
And I'm Sharon Rudolph.
And we're just going to kind of explore what it is when we're in a place of tension in our lives and how that is usually an indicator of a breakthrough that's at hand. And so as I was thinking about this conversation, one of the things that I kind of felt like the Lord led me to was that whole idea of Israel right there at the point of the promised land, ready to go in. They've been traveling for 40 years to get into this place. And, they have these promises of the vineyards they didn't plant and houses they didn't build and all of that. And so they're there in Numbers 13, and it's time to go into the land, and the spies are sent to look into the land because they realize there's some folks there. So they start looking through the land and they realize, oh, these guys are kind of big, and they consider them to be giants in the land. And so those giants, then all of a sudden, there's a varied response. There's a response of, God is for us and we can do this. And then there's a response of, oh no, this is awful, and these giants are big and we're just grasshoppers, and so we can't do this. So with an understanding of kind of that as the background, that's the tension there. God has a promised land for us, and we want to go into that, but we realize there's giants in the land. Can you speak to some of that tension, Sharon, in those places?
Welcome to normal human life.
Right.
There's going to be tension. And sure enough, just when you get past the last set of tension, there's liable to be new tension showing up. We are on journey with God. God is doing life with us, and he is growing us up. Mm-hmm. And I just know in raising children, because I've had 4, they'll master something. I can ride a bike. This is awesome. But then they see a friend who's doing tricks on their bike. Well, Mom, I want to do that. Well, okay, honey, you can learn how to do that, but you might fall down. Yeah. I mean, so really the Israelites in their journey to trust God and to really have a relationship with him were at a crossroads. Are they going to risk and receive the prize, or are they going to say no? And some of them weren't willing to step into the risk. Mm-hmm. And so I think whenever you have tension, you have to own that life has risk. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes it is our fear that keeps us from getting to the other side, receiving the prize, stepping into promised land, learning how to do tricks on our bike, whatever it is. It is the risk that's significant, and our choice to step into that risk.
Yeah, and I think that
risk.
Yeah, well, and I think that's the case, because it's we have a saying in the Warrior Commission that we need to get our brave on. Get your brave on, and the courage which God wants to put in you to step into that next thing. Because most things that we step into, most opportunities, invitations we have from the Lord for our growth, for our next steps, for our next place to explore, most of those have to do with a choice to say yes. But then there's usually a bit of a fight. And when I say fight, I don't necessarily mean with other people, but right. there's typically a bit of tension that we experience, and we fight through the tension. We press in toward the mark. And so there really are kind of like 2 types of tension that we have time to discuss somewhat today. Yes. And one is tension in the circumstance, and one is tension in your relationship with God. And I think typically in these places where we're looking for that breakthrough, and we're in that place of tension, I think that a lot of times it boils down to those 2 areas. Yes. That we are in a place of overcoming. breaking through into
Right.
the next place. So Sharon, would you speak to the idea of tension in your circumstances and what that might look like, and maybe kind of how it can be navigated as you're recognizing, hey, there's tension here.
Right. Right. And I think a really good example is where we are right now in the culture. We just went through an enormous tension of how to shelter in place. Mm-hmm. And now we're in another place of how to step out of shelter in place. Mm-hmm. And both of these life circumstances have an external tension. We want to be honoring to the people around us. We do want to keep ourselves and our family safe. So how do I navigate this? And when you're in that arena, you're going to have emotions. Mm-hmm. And based on your personal history, you may have feelings to go with your emotions. And it's learning to partner with God, do the with God, to be in that circumstance and being able to trust mm-hmm. that we're not alone. God didn't abandon us. Mm-hmm. And he is going to give us the wisdom, because he says, if you ask for the wisdom, he's happy to give it. Mm-hmm. To ask for wisdom in the tension of that circumstance, right. To know how to walk it out, to know how to press in, even to your own emotions and what you're feeling, to be able to take the step you need to take. Mm-hmm. And so in that external circumstance, we have to look at our internal selves mm-hmm. and how to partner with God in that place.
Right. And those circumstances may also involve people, like you said, we want to honor others. When people are going to be in different places in those situations, some will be, I'm going to go out there and do it, no holds barred. I'm running, some people are going to be like, I'm going to wait, I'm just going to be in this place. Some people are waiting because they feel like God has told them to, in that situation, whatever that is. Right. Other people are waiting because of fear's holding them back. And so it's kind of that place of recognizing, is this fear? Is this wisdom? Is this what God is asking of me? But then, okay, God's asking someone else, or they feel he's asking them to do something different. They are getting a different answer for their life, or they are choosing to stay in that place of tension because they're holding on to it. So can you talk a little bit about what it is when, one, you're in that place of tension and you're choosing to hold on to it, versus like you've come alongside people who have been in those places before. Could you kind of share those experiences, both the interaction part and your own personal revelation that you had to come to with that too?
The best way to move outside of tension is to start focusing on the breakthrough that God has for you in that place.
You empower what you focus on, essentially.
Yes, you empower what you focus on. Mm-hmm. So as long as you're focusing on the tension, as long as you're focusing on all the negative what ifs, mm-hmm. you're giving power to that. Mm-hmm. But there are positive what ifs. There are kingdom what ifs. There are God promise and blessing what ifs. Mm-hmm. And as we focus on those, and we focus on our relationship with the Lord, mm-hmm. who is he for me in this place?
Yeah.
Is he my protector? Is he my defender? Is he my shepherd? Is he my friend? Who is he for me in this place? And start to have a conversation with him. Mm-hmm. Because everything we go through in life is really about our relationship with God.
Yeah.
And how he wants us to know him and who he is. Mm-hmm. And so let's dig into all the goodness God has for us in this place, right. and empower the breakthrough and right. empower what's on the other side. And God's going to get us through to the other side. Mm-hmm. God got the Israelites through to the other side.
But it wasn't as they expected.
No, totally different.
And I think that's part of what the tension is about sometimes, especially in the part that's about the relationship with God. The tension that's there is a lot of times we have a certain way of looking at life, We have a certain expectation that we formed, and the way we choose to see things determines how we have our relationships, right? So if we feel like God should be doing X, Y, Z, and we don't see him doing that, then now we distrust God, right? Because he's not showing up in the way we expect. But part of the walk with God and part of the growth that we have with God is recognizing that there's tension there and being open to having a conversation with him, or a series of conversations where you're just saying, God, help me see things from your perspective. Help me understand what it is that you're revealing, or what is a bigger picture than what I'm seeing, in my space. Because I'm so focused here that I can't see, anything else. And it's in those places where that tension is there, that as long as we will, again, press in, lean in, and not run away from the tension, not be anti-confrontational, if you will. God can handle confrontation, and so it's that, and it's not necessarily a negative confrontation, it's a conversation. God, what is it that I'm not seeing? What am I not understanding? What is it that I need to focus on to empower in my life? How can I see a different perspective? And so even in the midst of, all the things that, like you were talking about with things being in, shelter in place and going into, now the relaxing, I guess, of that where we are right now, it's there's still that place of tension with the Lord of what are you going to choose to see? Because in the process of this stuff that's going on in the world, there have been so many places where as a church we've rallied together. As a church across the world, we've moved into prayers of unity like we've never seen before, or at least that I haven't. We've moved into places of connection and being more selfless as we are quarantined in our own little world and reaching out to others. And so I think that there's some amazing opportunities to look at tension in our lives and say, what is this tension? What is it about? And what is my opportunity to step into something that is maybe a better perspective, more maturity, less emotional, being tossed to and fro by the waves, and less fear oriented. How can I operate with a spirit of wisdom, but not of fear? And so I think that that's a large part of it as well.
I agree completely. Wisdom beats out fear every day.
Every day. Plus, it's a lot better for your whole personal well-being as well.
Oh, yeah. And God's given us a sound mind.
Yes.
So, but I know it helps me even to have conversations like this with you.
Yes.
That we don't live.
Me too.
We still have ways to be connected. We still have ways to partner with one another and see things together.
Absolutely. Well, so I think this wraps up our conversation about tension into breakthrough. There is a breakthrough in your life. If you're feeling tension, if you're feeling the pressure, the outward pressure of what's going on in the world, in your life, or even internally in your relationship with the Lord, just know that there's a breakthrough, and it's something that will be a phenomenal place of freedom and joy and a different way of living life more abundantly in God. So we just bless you in your breakthrough, and we bless you in the tension toward the breakthrough, because there's so much that you're gaining in that. But we also just are very excited to encourage you in that place to press into our breakthrough, because it's here.
It is.
So until our next chat, we will sign off here and look forward to talking to you guys again next Thursday at 7:30 Pacific time AM. That is, and we will see you then on the Warrior Commission Now.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.